Alright, so what's up guys, Capital Coasters here, and welcome back to another video. And today I actually want to give my first ever commentary park countdown. So today I'll be doing my top 10 coasters at Six Flags New England. Now it's here about a week ago on July 25th. And this is actually a really good park with some really good coasters. I actually got 10 of the credits here, like all the major ones. Definitely think they have a solid lineup, not the best, but it's decent. So I'll be counting down their top 10 coasters in my opinion, so let's just get right into it. Alright, so coming at the number 10 spot is going to be RIDDLER Revenge. And this is the SLC at the park, and I just do not like this ride. Out of the two SLCs I've ridden, I did not like either of them. This ride is just not fun. It's really rough. Just shaky. It's just a really bad ride experience. The pacing is really weird on these rides. The restraints are really weird. I mean, they're not terrible, but they're kind of awkward. And the forces kind of stapled me in, which is really uncomfortable. Sitting on the brake run. It's just not a great ride, really shaky. Not good inversions and elements. Unfortunately, it does have the vest. You're not getting head banging, but it's definitely a rough ride. Not very comfortable at all. Not just a good ride. I did not really like any of the elements on this ride. It does have a good color scheme, but in general, it's just not a great ride. And it's definitely my least favorite coaster at the park. So yeah, that's RIDDLER Revenge. So coming in the number 9 spot is going to be Gotham City Gauntlet Escape from Arkham Asylum, which is probably one of the dumbest coaster names I've ever seen, to be honest. This is easily my least favorite Wild Mouse I've ever ridden. It's just not fun. The turns are way too come at you way too fast. It's really jerky. The first half's, I'd say relatively typical for a Wild Mouse. You do get slammed around quite a bit. I don't really like Wild Mouse coasters in general, but the second half, there's so many just like back-to-back turns, and you're just getting slammed around really bad. It's really uncomfortable. Just not a fun experience. It does have a cool color scheme, and I do like how the different trains are themed to different, like DC characters, but it's just not a fun Wild Mouse. Probably my least favorite one I've ridden, and just not a good ride in general. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about this coaster. So coming at the number 8 spot is going to be FLASHBAck to VEKOMA Boomerang, and this is definitely my least favorite boomerang out of the two boomerangs I've ridden, or at least the two, I guess, traditional boomerangs I've ridden. I definitely preferred Flying Cobras. It was a lot smoother and the restraints are better, but this ride is just really rough. It does have the old over-the-shoulder restraints. You definitely get some head banging. I did ride towards the front, so it wasn't as bad, but it's still really rough. Lots of head banging, does jackhammer you quite a bit. It's just not a fun ride. It's still forceful. The drops are okay, but it's just not a great ride in general. Not a very good VEKOMA Boomerang. So I say ride it for the credit, but it's not really worth your riding. It's just not a great ride in general. But yeah, that's FLASHBAck. Alright, so coming at the number 7 spot is Thunderbolt, the classic Woody at the park. And I actually didn't get any footage of this coaster, but it's a decent ride. It opened back in the 40s. And I did actually find it to be pretty rough. I actually got assigned to a wheel seat in the back of the train, so it's definitely a pretty rough ride. But it's okay. It gave some decent laterals. It's got decent drops and decent airtime moments. It's definitely more thrilling than I expected. Kind of coming in, I definitely expected it to be a lot tamer than it was, but it's actually decently intense. So that was good, but it's definitely just a rough ride, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. But I think if you were in a non-wheel seat, it could definitely be a lot better. But, it's okay, because this ride's 7 years old, so I'm not expecting it to be butter smooth. But, it's still a solid ride, but just not the greatest. But it is the only Woody in the park, so I guess that's cool. But, yeah, Thunderbolt's decent, but not too great. I'd say it's rough, but gets some good airtime moments. And it's overall pretty good, I guess, sort of family coaster, sort of thrill coaster, but yeah, Thunderbolt. Alright, so coming in at the number 6 spot is Pandemonium. This was my first ever Pandemonium clone, and it's actually a pretty fun ride. I got a pretty good amount of spinning. The helixes are pretty intense. You get some good laterals and some of those wild mouse turns, and there's some good airtime moments. It's actually got a pretty decent ride duration, and I do like the color scheme. So it's overall a fun little family coaster, but nothing too great. But I'd just say it's a nice spinning coaster. I do think these are some good clones. Yeah, that's Pandemonium. Alright, so coming at the number 5 spot is going to be Joker, the SNS 40 free spin. This was my first ever 40 coaster, and this is a pretty cool ride. Unfortunately, I only got one full flip, which was kind of disappointing. I was expecting it to get at least like 2 or 3, probably not more. But it does have some cool little like rotations throughout the ride. You know, some points where you're almost about to flip, but you don't quite. You know, where you just flip upside down and flip, you know, the same way you came. And just like a lot of rocking back and forth, which is pretty intense. It does have some cool elements, but the flip, the only flip I got coming off the lift hill was actually really insane. Got flipped forward, did not expect that. Really throws you. And other, you know, rotations, I guess, and rocking back and forth is pretty fun. Sort of an intense ride, but nothing too crazy. But overall, cool ride. I do like the color scheme, and it's definitely just, I'd say, a pretty fun ride overall. But nothing too great. But yeah, I'd say these are solid clones. But yeah, that's Joker. Alright, so coming at the number 4 spot is going to be Goliath, the VEKOMA giant inverted boomerang. And I always heard rumors about this ride just being absolutely horrible, and those are sort of true. I definitely thought this ride was really rough, and not the greatest ride ever. But it was actually pretty solid, I'd say. I mean, the drops were alright, although they were kind of underwhelming. I didn't really get much out of them. And the vertical lifts were just kind of okay. The inversions were pretty forceful overall, but there's definitely just a lot of roughness and like jackhammering throughout this ride. You do get some headbanging, the restraints aren't the greatest. But it's a pretty cool ride. And another interesting thing I found about these trains is there's actually a lot of room in between cars. So you can I could almost stick my whole leg out without even touching the car in front of me, which is kind of just an interesting thing I found with this ride. But it's overall pretty intense, but rough ride. So I'd say it's solid, but not great. I'd still say it's definitely on the lower end of coasters I've ridden, but I'd say it's one of the better coasters at the park. So yeah, that's Goliath. And I would probably still say it's my favorite boomerang. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this ride. Alright, so coming at the number 3 spot is going to be Batman the Dark Knight, being a floorless coaster in the park. And it's actually a really solid floorless. I'd say out of the 5 I've ridden, it's my 3rd favorite in front of Rougarou and Firebird, but behind Kraken and Dominator. And I'll definitely move down more after Bizarre Great Adventure, but this is a pretty good ride. It's actually really forceful. Got some good turns, inversions, got a decent drop, really smooth. There was only one headbang on this ride. Pretty whippy. The corkscrews are good. The Zero Giro actually was surprisingly whippy. I was not expecting that. It's a pretty photogenic coaster. It's got a good view at the top, and it's just really solid overall. It's kind of short, but it's got a lot of solid elements, and it's just a really solid floorless coaster. So yeah, that's all I really got to say about Batman Dark Knight. Alright, so now we're getting into the top 2, and a lot of people will have, a lot of people are going to debate about what's the number 2 and what's the number 1. They're both phenomenal coasters in their own ways, and I really like both of them. They're both so good. However, I definitely do have one I prefer. So let's just get right into this top 2. So coming at the number 2 spot is going to be the INTAMIN Mega Coaster Superman the Ride. This ride is awesome. It's won Golden Ticket Award for best coaster or best steel coaster in the world several times, and definitely I can see why it got that. It's got one of the best layouts on any coaster I've ridden. It's such a long ride. It's got so many airtime moments. It's got like regular airtime hills. It's got like a lot of twisted airtime hills. It's got like mini bunny hops at the end, all ejector. The best moment of this ride is by far the It Happens hill, which is like the third airtime hill. You just get absolutely thrown out, especially towards the front. I rode this coaster twice, once in the back and once in row 2. And the back was really good, but in row 2 it was way stronger. You get totally tossed out of your seat. It really surprises you. It's just such an insane ride. It's such an insane element. The overbank on this ride's good. The helixes are really intense. All the airtime moments are great. The drop's good. The 2 tunnels are awesome. The ending gives great airtime. That final turn into the brake run, and the brake run itself you just slam into. I do like this ride, it keeps its speed throughout the ride. So when you hit that brake run, you still have a lot of speed. It's such a long ride. It gives well over a minute in terms of drop to brakes duration. And it's just such a good ride. Definitely a really good Intamin. And I just really like it. And I actually didn't find the U-brakes to be that bad. Some people really dislike them. I'm honestly okay with them. But it also gives a great view of the Connecticut River on the left hill, and from the top you can see some of the park. And it's just such a really awesome photogenic coaster. I just really like this ride. It's just an awesome coaster. So yeah, that's what I gotta say about Superman the Ride. And of course, coming at the number 1 spot is the RMC Hybrid Wicked Cyclone. This is just such an awesome ride. It's my current second favorite RMC. In front of Twisted Timbers, behind Steel Vengeance. It's pretty close with Twisted Timbers, but I just found this ride to be a bit more aggressive. It's just a crazy ride. So much airtime. It's got off-axis airtime moments. It's got regular airtime moments. It's got outer bank airtime moments. All ejector, all really good. The double down's great. The drop's really fun. It's got some really good turns, some good laterals, some good intensity. The first overbank is actually surprisingly intense. The inversions are awesome and give great hang time. I really like the element before the last inversion that gave great laterals and airtime. There's a lot of good forces, just an intense ride overall. The head choppers are awesome. It's a really long ride, really smooth. It's great how much they fit into such a compact layout. I definitely really like that about this ride. I thought that's a pretty unique, thing about it. It's just such a compact ride, and they felt so much into such a tight spot. I think my only complaint with this ride would be the nylon wheels do cause a bit of pacing issues. I didn't really mind the vibration they gave. In my opinion, they do give a bit of a vibration. Most people would agree with me. Which that I didn't mind, but it did cause some pacing issues at the end. Like after the last inversion, it definitely slows down, but it's still a really good ride. It's just so much fun, and I just really love Wicked Cyclone. That'll be about it for this video. Sorry if it's a bit longer, but I just had a lot to talk about. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.